Most people don't know that we have a body clock in our system. Breakfast is never part of our life. So if we eat food late and go to sleep, the body is missing out on the 3 hours: rest, rejuvenation and repair. Gut is your first friend. Cholesterol has become a rogue. 85% is made in your body. If something is made in our body, how can it be bad?
What if everything you knew about your heart health is wrong? For instance, your gut has 1 trillion bacteria, but how is it affecting your heart? Well, if you want to find out, then stick around, because I have with me Dr. Alok Chopra, eminent cardiologist, and the information that he's going to give us could well change your life. Dr. Chopra, welcome to Your Health Decoded.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. You know, one of the first things that I really wanted to ask you is, you've spoken a lot about chronic illnesses being reversible,
Yes.
functional health, and how it's very new. Speak to our audience about how does this work? How do you advise your patients to go about it?
You see, to start with, the whole thing about is very slipshod and somewhere this and somewhere that. So the question is that, do we have a plan? Is there anything in our body which is this? And yes, the answer is yes. Most people don't know that we have a body clock in our system. Body clock means, it doesn't mean that there's a ghadi sitting inside there, but the body clock actually is there forever. It is part of our DNA.
So what is a body clock?
The body clock is that it wakes you up at a particular time, 4 o'clock. Now 4 o'clock AM, nobody's going to wake up. That's the witching hour. So the closest that you can go after the witching hour is about 5:15. That's true. So I have been doing this for the last 7 years. So I wake up at 5:15, I run down the steps, and the first thing I do is barefoot grounding on wet muddy grass. I have a large garden. Barefoot grounding. Now, have you heard of that? No. So grounding means that when you walk on wet muddy grass, which is not going to last very long, it actually takes a lot of the inflammation from your body inside. And I've done some thermographic studies where we are making people walk, and we are seeing that their legs are inflamed, red, magenta, etc. And in about 15-20 minutes, it becomes blue, indigo, and green. And wow, it's really a visual thing that I'm seeing.
So that old thing that, grandmothers would say, ospe.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So does it work only on natural grass or this astroturf?
No, it has nothing. People are having, who have a grass in the terrace and all that.
Yeah.
It has to be grounded.
It has to be
grounded.
Right.
And it has to be wet muddy grass, which is only going to last for a short period.
Okay.
So most people do not wake up at the right time. They are missing out 2 buses, really, come to think of it. Waking at the wrong time and missing out on this. So after that, we go and see that the infrared rays of the light are coming in at that time. The infrared is not some red rays coming in, but there is a little haze like that. So that time we have to open your shirt and allow the infrared rays to come in. So after that is done, going from Ayurvedic circles, which I study a lot, the best time to do prayer and pranayam is then. You can do it anywhere else, but this is the best time because we have to honor that as well. So that's the time when we do prayer and pranayam. So I do at least 3 pranayams. There are hundreds of them, but 3 main things like Anulom Vilom, Kapalbhati, and Brahmari.
Right.
And I think most people know it. If you want, I can show it.
No, I think.
Yeah. So after that, I do a aerobic activity. Now, whether I'm running, high intensity interval training, I'm sure you heard of that. Yeah. No.
Yeah. No, of course.
So most people have or not, I don't know. High intensity training, the quick is that you warm up. 1 minute you run like a mad dog. For 3 to 6 minutes you slow down, then 1 minute, then this. So this interchange between aerobic and anaerobic actually causes fat burning and muscle building.
Right.
So if you go for a long walk, do it this way.
So fast and then slow down a bit and then
that's the way.
Got it.
Now you can do it anyway. You can swim, you can treadmill or whatever you that, but you must do some aerobic activity in the morning. So aerobic activity is best in the morning, and strength training is best done in the evening.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you do it the other way around, but that's the way it is.
Okay.
So after that, you've done all that, then comes the first time to eat. So your first meal should be in the region of 10:30ish.
Okay.
See, our ancestral past, our DNA is still the same.
Okay.
That DNA is still within us. But how we are using that DNA is different. So our DNA, our ancestral past, they used to never get any food. Nutrition was never there. If at all once, sometimes never, and very rarely twice. So let's take it twice. So taking into account the DNA of our ancestral past, because we can't change that. We are always better than eating twice a day only.
Oh.
And this is some British story. Breakfast was never part of our life. So it's no longer breakfast. It's called first meal and second meal.
So 10:30 is like a brunch, as they say.
Absolutely. I was just going to say that. We're calling a late brunch and an early dinner. And our eating window ideally is 8 hours. 10 is okay, but 8 is best. So that means I have been always eating in an 8-hour window, where my first meal is the bigger meal and my second meal is my smallest meal.
Right.
Now, the other thing that happens is that in the morning the food gets utilized, but in the evening we're eating late. So one of the reasons that we shouldn't be eating late is that the body needs about 2 hours for the food to get digested. Now we don't know that seeds work it out in the day, in the morning time. So in the evening time, our body needs about 2 hours for the food to get digested. So if we eat food late and go to sleep, the body is missing out on the 3 hours: rest, rejuvenation and repair. So if I eat early, the food is get digested and the rest, rejuvenation, repair doesn't get interfered with.
So in between
that's the body clock.
But in between these meals,
I'm coming to that.
Nothing?
So in between the meals, nothing. But if you are really hungry, then nuts, seeds, maybe a soup or a green salad. Nothing very...
Fruit?
Not at all.
Oh, why is that?
I'll tell you why. Now I'm going to talk about fruit first. Now fruit can be taken also, but I'll tell you why and why not. See, fruit was, if you remember, our fathers, our great-grandfathers, our great-grandfathers used to give us fruit right after our meal. And you know that. खाना खत्म हुआ नहीं, fruit आ गया. अब क्या हो गया कि first thing in the morning fruit, and then coming back in the empty stomach.
But is it because in the morning the fruit gives you a sugar spike?
Absolutely. You see, fruit is 100% fructose, and fructose is the most glycemic meal in the body. And it is not metabolizable, which means it cannot be broken down into purpose. So therefore, when it's alone, when it's with the food, it gets worked with the food. When it is alone, it has to find a way, and it has to go to the fatty liver or the muscle.
So in this body clock and in this meal plan of yours, what's an ideal breakfast?
There's no such thing as breakfast in my experience.
No, like a brunch. What's the ideal brunch?
I'll tell you. So I start my day with a bullet coffee.
Okay.
And I mean, everybody doesn't drink coffee, but I'll give you the advantages of it. A bullet, have you heard of the bullet coffee?
No, please tell us.
Okay, the bullet coffee comes as the best coffee first to start with, and then we put a little bit of MCT oil, medium chain triglyceride, comes from coconut oil, or even butter, right? And because this really triggers your metabolism in the morning and wakes you up like a big horse.
Okay.
So you take the MCT oil or a little bit of butter or better MCT oil. Then we put a little bit of cinnamon, wo bhi Ceylon cinnamon, Sri Lanka ka cinnamon, and a little pinch of haldi.
Okay.
And that this is what we call a bullet coffee.
So that's like your first drink of the day.
That's my first drink, and that's how I start my meal after the coffee. So then comes your big meal, the first meal. The first meal has to be the biggest meal, and the short, the one that we all talked about. So we are now, we are not calling it, I mean, the brunch, lunch and dinner. We are calling it first meal and second meal.
Right. So what is the first meal? Like for instance, if you were to
A full meal.
a full meal.
My first meal is my full
So
meal.
all your roti,
everything.
chawal, dal, sabzi,
even the eggs.
non-veg, whatever, eggs.
Somehow eggs has been relegated to the morning. It doesn't make sense. Eggs are very important. And so it doesn't make sense. So if you want to eat the eggs, have your sabji, have your everything else at the same go.
Okay.
So it's a complete change from
And
what
what's
people,
the second meal like? It's a
smaller
smaller
meal of the same thing.
Okay. So lesser quantity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lesser quantity, that's all. And remember, the fruit immediately after the meal, not in the middle of the meal, because fructose is not, as I said, metabolizable. It will go to the liver. So taking fruit on an empty stomach is not a perfect idea. Yes, people do say that the fruit will get garbage, if you are having it with the food. Yes, thoda sa farak padta hai. But when it's eaten separately, make it much.
But so why can't have it in the middle of the day then?
Because it's 100% fructose, and fructose is very, very meetha item. And so fructose, when it is utilized, it will find its way into the liver.
Okay. So now, this is like an ideal situation. No, the reason I'm saying is because, I mean, it could work but for instance, my son is currently working. He's just graduated law school. He's just up and sort of becoming lawyer. He leaves the house at 8:30 in the morning, comes back at 10 at night. Now, and a lot of young people have those lives. What is it that they can do? Because they can't follow this 2 meals, 10:30.
I agree with you, but I'm just giving you what is the right thing. So then, when a situation like this comes, we'll have to work it out.
Yeah.
And each person has to work it out themselves, but taking into account that there is a body clock which is wanting you to do something else. But based on your work, now there are people who are only doing night work.
Right, exactly.
So you can't.
So how do they work out their body clocks? Is there a way to work out their body clock, or
the body clock actually changes completely then? Because from the traditional body clock doesn't remain the body clock.
Right.
So there are people who are only working at night. So they become night birds. So they have to use that. So that's the difficult one. But once you are used to it, it's there. But most people can't do it every day. So all the people who are doing night shifts in one day, morning in another day, are actually not going to be healthy. That's true. In the long run, it's your resilience that you can carry on at a young age, but it will catch hold of you in the end.
right?
That's true.
That's not a okay.
It's not. Doesn't
It's
feel good.
a pessimistic scenario, but I want to come back to what you said about chronic illnesses being reversible. So talk to us about that. Let's take an example of one illness, anything.
This is the same way.
Yeah.
Any illness will work the way that I talked about. Now, there are a million illnesses. We can't talk about everyone.
Right.
But the fact is that if you have got an illness, living with the body clock, eating no more than twice a day, will be a starting point, and a very good starting point.
Okay.
Of course, you will need medicines and other things and going to the doctors, because I'm not talking about that. But if you live like that with the body clock, then your need for medicines, your need for disease reduction will be much better.
Right. Would you like to elaborate a little bit more on functional medicine, as you called it?
Yeah. You see, functional medicine is a word which is actually not a great word. Because everybody asks me, what is functional medicine? What does it mean? So this is the functional medicine word came from some guy, Mark Hyman in the US. So it's a great guy. I mean, we all followed him. We all learned a lot from him. But he named it functional medicine. He named it. So functional medicine, this question comes every day. What the hell does it mean? What function? So in a way, I asked him this question. He says, it is how the body needs to function.
Right.
As simple as that.
Huh.
So that is simple in one line. It's not some new method. The method is eating in the same way, whatever we talked about, that encompasses functional medicine.
So, there is another thing that you must have noticed, that a lot of people now speak about, that whether it's athletes or people who, seemingly are quite fit, they eat the same meal every day, like day in and day out. Is that something to follow?
There's nothing majorly wrong. But
Okay.
then you're missing out on many other ingredients that you don't take.
Right.
It's not a bad idea, but you can't live your life like that, because you cannot eat every ingredient in one day.
Right.
So that's the answer.
Okay, so also tell me now, in this day and age where everyone says, don't have sugar, don't have oils, don't drink, what is an average moderate way of living?
I don't like the word moderate.
Okay.
Moderate means that you are walking on that, moderation is a death sentence for me.
Right. Okay.
Because I'm doing moderation. That means I can't do this, I can't do that. I don't want to do this because someone will say that. So moderation is the ugliest word in the world.
Okay. So you're saying either this way or that way?
No. Have a range.
Right.
That means you go like this, not this one line. कि नहीं ये नहीं हो सकता, ये होगी बात, ये नहीं कर सकते. So that is a crazy state of mind.
So let's say there's a 30-year-old who comes to you and says, I work from 9 in the morning to 7 at night. Recommend a plan for me. What would you say?
That's very difficult to decide because it all depends on what nature of job they're doing.
Okay.
Depending, is their employer saying, all right, ab do khana kha lo ya nahi kha lo. So it's a difficult question to answer. But it's difficult for them. There's no doubt about it. So you have to find a way to manage it. I mean, I can't give you an answer for each person who does a particular thing.
Right. Okay. So now we're going to come to the other very interesting thing that you've been talking about is bacteria and gut damage and how that's affecting arteries in people's heart. So speak to us about that.
You see, there are two things here. We all know that there is the cardiac issue comes from all the stuff that you have, heart, all the reasons that you get a heart thing. Now the question is that the gut bugs are also in your system and they are connected. We didn't know that they were connected.
Right.
So the gut bugs and this thing have got a method to work with each other. So the gut bugs actually tell you what to do. Because today the gut bugs is our real brain. Our first brain is the gut.
Right.
Our second brain is also the gut. And the poor little brain is not as great as we think it is to be. Your brain is worked by the gut. Gut is your first brain. So if you live your life with the right method or the right eating, the right time to sleep and everything, the gut bugs does not get disturbed. And now what people don't know is that the gut bugs are converting and working on our life. They arrange our life, they work our life. So if the gut bugs are working our life, then the brain doesn't become a great guy. Were it not for the gut bugs, the brain wouldn't be as good. So our gut will actually create something good in our brain, in the rest of our body. The brain will work better when we are working with the...
But is that after a certain age or literally from the day you're born?
Literally.
Yeah.
You see, I'm not making it rigid. It's sounding rigid. But that's the story. Because we didn't know that the gut bugs are actually the cause of everything. They control everything.
So...
And the gut bugs are not little kidas running around the place, It's...
So let's say, like a gut lining, as you've spoken out, getting leaky, can that lead to a heart attack?
Yes, it can. It can. Definitely it can.
How does that work?
Because the whole matter becomes, into a difficult situation when you do a thing badly or good thing wrongly. So if you create a situation where the gut bugs are healthy will mean that you have to eat a particular type of food, like we discussed. And if you're eating right, the gut bugs are happy. If you don't eat right, the gut will react. And when it reacts to the whole body, including the brain.
One of the things we were discussing about was, can a perfectly looking, healthy young person have clogged arteries?
Yes.
And
you
how?
See, I'll tell you. Now, clogged arteries is a very, clogged word. Because a lot of people will have the coming from their daddies and all that, people who have, say, their parents have got heart disease, it is mandatory that 10-20% you're already there. So now you have to work your life in such a manner that you can't change the longevity, what you're getting from your parents. That's part of your life.
Your genetics, yeah.
Your genetics, you can't change that. So you have to now work on that. Now that you know that your parents are ill, all of them have had a heart attack or that thing, how am I going to now prevent it? Up to a point I can't, because it's written in a dictionary, right? So you have to create a better time situation of what you eat and how you eat more properly, so that you can get rid of that inheritance. But a little bit you can't do, so you have to put a better job in it.
Right. Are there any symptoms?
Yes.
Like,
of a heart attack, yes, you must.
No, not for a heart attack, for like clogged arteries and things like that.
You see, clogged arteries more often than not don't tell you they are clogged. So it all depends upon where in the artery is concerned. You see, we have 3 major arteries and we have the starting point. So if there is a block, as we call a plaque, if it's in this, you see the artery first comes down, then it divides into 3. And then if the main artery, because each time the main artery may be different. For example, the right coronary artery is sometimes the main thing, or the left coronary artery is the main thing. So it all depends. So if the artery is clogged at the mouth of the vessel, then if something gets blocked, the entire part which is being taken out goes. So the deeper it is, supposing the block is in the middle, you already got some small arteries which are taking it away. So it's a very difficult thing to complete it, but somehow everyone at some point, especially who've got parents with the heart disease, you must do something different. For example, you do a CT angiogram. You may have heard of that.
Beyond what age? Like 30?
Yeah, because 30 to 40 now are in trouble. So 30 to 40, you do this little, what do you say?
CT angiogram.
The CT angiogram actually tells us how much there is a calcium blockage. How much is there. That is one thing, the calcium score as they call it. It also tells you that there is a block. It also tells you where is the block. But unfortunately, it doesn't tell you is the block obstructing the blood flow or not. So, but if you get a okay picture for this thing, then you're fine. If you don't get an okay picture, then we do a thallium scan. You may have heard of it. So we induce some thallium into the person and we see how it works. So the thallium scan tells us, it doesn't tell you that there is a block. It tells us that despite the block, is it obstructing the blood flow or not. So in a way, they are connected with each other. But if the CT angio is normal, we only need to take the other one. If the CT angio is not normal, then we do the thallium test.
So a regular heart test after 30 is a must.
30, 40, something like that, yeah.
Okay, what is TMAO and why are heart doctors suddenly talking about it?
See, TMAO is something that is made in our body actually.
Okay, what is it?
It's a mechanism in our body. The TMAO, if it is very high, then it's not good for your health, and vice versa.
Okay.
So all we have to measure it, and there's a way of doing it. So we have to measure it and see what is right and what is wrong, and we work on it. It's not such a big bad thing.
Right. So there's nothing. I mean, as long as you monitor it, check it.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, is too much gym cardio really dangerous for the heart?
Yes. You see, what happens is that people think that the more they exercise, the better they are.
Okay.
So it's partly true and it's partly not true.
Okay.
Because there's some people who spend so much time doing it. So, I mean, like for example, I do my exercise, as I explained, walk around this thing. I swim every day, or not every day, but often. Then strength training. See, strength training, most people want to build up muscles and do that, and they do everyday strength training, lying down, picking up 100 weights, So, strength training in our dictionary, our understanding, should not be used more than like in say a 10-hour window, twice or thrice, because the body needs about 2 to 3 parts to let the muscle recover.
Right.
Now we're not talking about people who are playing cricket or football or tennis. Well, their jobs are different. For most of us, we need a few times to change between A, B, and C.
Right.
So we need to do that, and that means I would do the strength training 3 times in 10 days.
Oh.
I need 2 to 3 things for my muscles to recover. I mean, I'm not some great athlete or doing something like that. If I am, then it makes a difference. But for most of us, that's the way to do it.
Right. So if there is a young person who's a little overweight in their 20s, is that a problem?
Give him a knock on his face first. there's no room for storing fat. So if at younger age you are putting up, then you have to actually whip them up and work out on what is right and what is wrong in the food. That same eating window and what we talked about.
But does that increase their chances
yes.
of?
Of course.
Okay.
And especially when you're starting your life with I've seen obese young people who at times can't walk, can't run, can't think. So there's no room for obesity in my life.
So it is a problem. Okay. Does cutting gluten or dairy make a difference to the heart via the gut?
We missed out one answer to this similar question about dairy. What is dairy?
Okay.
See, dairy was a great item. Today's dairy is not the dairy that we used to have.
Why?
Because of stuff that the way they handle it. पहले ज़माना फर्क होता था, आज नहीं है वो ज़माना. So today dairy becomes a rogue.
Okay.
So I don't take dairy now. Instead of dairy, because I don't know where it's coming from. So I do nut milks and plant milks.
Right.
That way we know that we are okay.
Okay.
So I started with the nut milk like that. So nut milk se milk ho gaya. So gluten is again a problem.
Okay.
So I have stopped eating any form of gluten. Believe it or not, I don't eat normal carbs at all. Of course, carbs are found in everything, but I don't eat any unnecessary carbs.
So everyone's into this biohacking and tracking and all now. So do wearables and all these apps, can they really help prevent heart disease or track it?
It cannot prevent it.
Okay.
It just makes you realize what is right and wrong. I am not a gadget guy.
Okay.
Because it makes you crazy in the end. Now, this may be wrong and this may be right. I am not in favor of it because we have enough ways to handle it.
Without the apps.
Without the apps. Because apps you have become, then you're subservient to the apps.
Yeah.
और खत्म नहीं हो तो मर गए हाय क्या करें. So honestly, it's nothing wrong with it.
But
it works very well. But then you become like a robot.
Got it. Okay. What is the biggest myth about cholesterol or bad fats that you want people that they should stop believing?
I love this question. Why do I love this question? Because cholesterol has become a rogue. Who created that rogue? Big Pharma. They wanted you to remain sick. If you remain sick, you will get more medicines. More medicines means they'll make more money. Where does cholesterol come from? From your food. 85% is made in your body by God.
Okay.
If something is made in our body, how can it be bad? Let's start with that. Number one. Number two, there are 10 jobs that it does in the body. Now, let me not list it to you because it's long.
No, but when, like, let's say you get a report and it says your LDL is high or your HDL is high, what does that mean?
You see, HDL and LDL is not cholesterol.
Okay.
They call it HDL cholesterol. Bullshit. There's no such thing as LDL cholesterol. Cholesterol is अपनी अलग कहानी है.
तो cholesterol is जो आप कह रहे हो जो total cholesterol है.
Cholesterol and HDL cholesterol is a misnomer.
Okay.
You just call it LDL and HDL.
Right.
They've got their own jobs to do.
Right.
It's nothing to do with cholesterol. The cholesterol is working with it, but it doesn't mean it's cholesterol. So everybody is saying LDL cholesterol and HDL cholesterol. What nonsense.
But cholesterol and fats have a relationship, right?
No. Cholesterol and fat, cholesterol is fat.
Right, exactly. So that's what I'm saying.
But something is made in our body. How can it be bad?
So everyone.
Now I can tell you 10 major jobs that it does.
Okay.
I mean, it's long, it's too long, but remember, there are 10 jobs that are, like for example, your arteries. The arteries have to be rigid. The rigidness is created by cholesterol. When you get sick, the cholesterol goes up and reduces your inflammation.
So why is it doctors are perpetually telling you to reduce your cholesterol?
The doctors doesn't know. B, some are being told by Big Pharma you better do that.
But isn't it also?
आप सीधी सी बात बताओ कि जिस्म में आपकी बॉडी में कोई चीज बन रही है तो खराब कैसे?
नहीं तो अगर इतना ज़्यादा cholesterol है, so they also say it leads to fatty liver and things like that.
So what happens is that why has cholesterol become a rogue? it become a rogue because actually you are eating the wrong food, so your body gets inflamed.
Okay.
Inflammation, okay.
Huh.
Now, if I could draw a diagram, for example, you have an artery. Inflammation will cause a plaque in the artery. Say there's an artery. Inflammation से plaque आ गया. One nice guy comes and puts a band-aid on it. Who's the nice guy?
The cholesterol.
But you carry on eating nonsense. Another plaque, another cholesterol, another plaque. In the end, the artery gets clogged. So when you die and you open the artery, you find cholesterol. You say, he is the bugger.
Ah, that's an interesting take. Okay, what is a quick swap? What's the one food you want people to cut from their diet and the one you wish they'd add?
You see, one is that when we talk about the breakfast thing, eggs is important, green leafy vegetables is important, green vegetables are important, and as far as, and now the question becomes that people are eating vegetarian or non-vegetarian food. Now, I have seen that people who are vegetarians have more or slightly more sicknesses than the people who have. But I'm not talking about people who are eating non-veg foods morning, afternoon, and evening, or twice a day.
Okay.
People like us who eat 2-3 times, like, is one thing. So you cannot find what the, like in a non-veg food will never be found in the vegetarian food. Non-veg food is much powerful. I'm not bringing down the
the vegetarians, of course,
but on its own, my personal thing, you can ask most of the doctors, that most people who are falling extremely ill are actually vegetarians, and the vegans have no chance to live. Yeah, I mean, when a vegan comes in, I said, I want to see you. First sit down and talk to me. So
you have just, I'm saying you've just killed the vegans of the world.
Have you see, the vegans are in trouble. I mean, they're not getting any nutrition at all.
Finally, we have to end this. So if you had 30 seconds to make a reel, what is your one take-home message for everybody for gut and heart health? One thing.
No.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. First is live with the body clock.
Okay.
First meal, bigger meal. Second meal, third meal. Having 2 hours before sleeping and eating the right foods with more vegetables, more grains, much lesser non-veg foods, and living by the body clock. That's good enough. Because there's more. I mean, we can talk more about it. Fruit again. Fruits very important. Eating with the right times and things like that.
Okay, so I'm also going to do a quick wrap up. The first is know your body clock. Try and have 2 meals a day. The big meal in the morning, which is your brunch, and 1 meal in the evening. During the day, if you feel hungry, have some nuts, have a salad, have some soup, nothing else. Must get a heart checkup after 30. Must get that done. Keep your gut happy because it's really related to your heart health.
Your gut is your brain.
Your gut is your brain. Okay. Too much gym cardio is bad. Don't overtrain. That is bad for your heart. And last but not the least, this is good news for you non-vegetarians. According to Dr. Alok, non-veg is better than vegetarian food. Vegans, well, I'm not going to say he said it, but best of luck. Okay. But that's it. That's the wrap with Dr. Alok today on Your Health Decoded. Thank you so much for joining us today. See you next week.